This is a guide for the most consistent strategy in Caves of Qud, including my favorite Truecan start. If you've been looking for the easiest way to win Truecan, or the best way to improve your dailies or mutant starts, this is it. For new players, or new characters in general, you may be asking, what do I want to do first? Let me give you a baseline answer to that question that you can apply to any character start. This series is going to contain several videos that show highlights across an entire game. For this first video, we're going to go over the optimal starting build for the Truecan, in my opinion. We're going to talk about how to level safely in the early game so that you don't die and can survive consistently. We'll talk about using the most important skill tree in the game to carry that early game safety experience into the mid game. And we're going to get you set up with all of the guaranteed gear that you can find in every game without heavy reliance on RNG or mechanisms that break the game or anything generally unfun. After we have the baseline build put together in this video, then the next videos will go over the main quest line steps, some tricks to solving them easily and simply, mostly using this starting gear, and then how to transition into the end game, completing our build, just using the basic mechanisms that we put together and relying on as little RNG as possible. So to get started, we're going to go with classic mode and we're going to make a new character. Of course, we're playing Truecan. And now the class out of all of them that we're going to pick is the Praetorian. In particular, the Praetorian starts with an Ishikar rifle, which is probably the best early game weapon, a number of good stat bonuses, and a good shield with some good armor. And we'll be using that shield for quite a bit of the game unless we find a better replacement or upgrade. It also has a number of skills that we would want to learn anyway, mostly for defensive purposes. And it comes with the default plus 15 cold resistance, which is the minimum required for Bethesda Susda. So that covers us there too. All around, it is very strong. So the first thing we're going to do with our stats is bring everything up so that it gives us a 0 modifier. I don't like to start with anything in the negative. So that's 16 across the board. Now we have extra points remaining because of our Truecan calling. And so what we're going to do is bring agility and intelligence up to 20, first and foremost. The idea here is that we're eventually aiming to get 23 in both intelligence and agility for Tinker 2 and for Disarming Shot, which is based on agility. And then we're looking to get either 19 or 23 strength if we want heavy weapons, which we often do with this build. So we're going to go up with our remaining points to 20 in strength as well. So basically what that's going to allow us to do is at level 3, we can put our first point in int. At level 6, we get a point in everything. At level 9, the point goes in agility. So that takes us up to 22 on int and agility. And then at level 12, you get points in everything again, and that puts us at 23 in int and agility. And from there, we're putting extra points in strength until we get to 23. And from there, it's a little more free. It's much less necessary to get things right. So at this point, you have 2 extra points remaining. You could go into ego in order to get some better prices at vendors. It's not a bad option. You could go into willpower to get cooldown on some of your abilities and get some of the more defense-oriented skills. But usually what I do is I like to get more intelligence. And that gets us more skill points in particular, and it gets us to Tinker 2 much faster. about 3 levels faster to be exact. Now we're going to pick the actual best implant for Truekin in the early game, and that is the optical techno scanner. You know, we don't really need extra defenses or offenses on the Praetorian. It's such a strong background, and the Ishkar rifle can carry you right into the mid game. And so this techno scanner is going to give us a jump start on identifying our artifacts and identifying the artifacts and items inside of merchants' inventories, which then allows us to select exactly what we want. And in essence, save a bunch of money by not buying junk on accident to identify it. So this is a big boost and jumpstart into getting faster, or getting stronger faster, basically. So there's our full build. 20 strength, 20 agility, 21 intelligence, the rest at baseline plus 0 modifier. And off we go. We're going to start in Joppa. You can use the strategy that we're going to be using here from any start at all that you want. But most new players tend to start at Joppa, and it's probably the simplest and most straightforward area to start in, not least of which because you start in the salt marshes, which is where we're going to get some early experience and have lower levels of threat. It doesn't matter what the situation is, you're going to do a water ritual with him as well. And then you're going to learn Harvestry, which will get us a jump start on cooking. From here, we're going to do Auto Explore, picking up the Shrine and 2 other secrets, at least. There's a 3rd one. There's a Salt in History. So the next thing we're going to do then is steal from these houses. Go ahead and take the free water. Get a lacquered chrome revolver. That's a good find. And the other house we can steal from is over here. Yeah, we'll go ahead and take that. Not worth much. Okay. See what we can do to complete this quest. Give him the bubble level. Get the next quest. Give him another knick-knack. We're going to go with the Blaze Injector. One screen north of there, you get a historic site location off of a statue. So we'll go ahead and mark that for later, but we're not going to do it right away. So at this point now, we're just going to go up and we're going to be looking for crocs, which I just found, or other fish creatures to get some early experience. So there's 75 from the croc, and then if we can find some fish, they're 25 apiece. Here we go. All right, so croc got close to us. I'm just going to go ahead and sprint away. I don't like risking getting dismembered this early. I guess we could talk a little bit about our skills here, and we did level up once. So we've got the baseline bow and rifle skills, steady hands and draw a bead, and so we're not learning any more in there. We will be learning cooking and gathering. We're not going to be using long blades. Our shield skill is good enough right now with block learned and shield slam. That's good enough for quite a while. Wayfaring is going to be the most important thing to learn early on. We'll come back to this, but this is where we're going to sink most of our points early. We'll also be picking up swift reflexes later on. We can leave that open so don't forget. Trash divining, which is going to give us a bunch of secrets, which are very useful for trade purposes. We'll pick up Shake It Off. Not immediately, but later on, so that we have resistance to stun effects. We're going to save Heavy Weapon for later when we get a Heavy Weapon. Here's our other main tree, besides Wayfaring, Pistol Tree. Eventually we're going down here to Disarming Shot, but we'll be using our Ishkar Rifle for quite a while before we go into that. And then Tinkering. So the first thing I like to go for, because we're going to get 2 more levels here from the fish. And so we're going to go with Scavenger and then Disassemble first. So we'll learn that. And that's going to allow us to start building up our Tinkering supply. Alright, so now that we've hit level 4, we're going to start going into the most important tree, which is Wayfaring. Wayfaring is going to be both our source of defense early on, because it's going to keep us from getting lost and getting into fights that we don't want to get into. It helps us when we do get lost to find our way. And even more importantly, we're going to be learning wilderness lore, which has this effect of doubling the chance of interesting encounters while traveling through the particular area in question. And what that's going to do is allow us to find ruins and other sorts of things like that that have the loot that we want. So at this point, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to transition to the next phase now that we've got our initial levels, and we're going to be systematically searching every salt marsh tile or parsang. What we're going to do is we're going to go into the middle parsang and we're just going to search. Obviously this is easier during the day. Once we're satisfied that we have seen anything interesting in the area, we'll take off. What we're doing here, of course, is looking for the tile with the flattened remains, which will give us wings. So here we're finding something of interest, which is the distillery, giving us 1 level for discovering it, and that's our Wayfarer skill paying off for us there. We also find a Respeth secret here, which is worth some more experience. So this is one of the good ways to level up, is finding these hideouts. This one is an Ichor merchant of a particularly high tier. Some of the other great things you can find using Wayfaring are layers, which are great for experience and reputation, and of course the ruins, which is where we get all of our books. So now we've hit level 6. We leveled up twice here, just by chance, by finding this. And obviously finding this was the result of having wilderness lore for the marshes. And so while we're on our main quest here, which is finding the tiles with the mechanical wings, we're uncovering ruins and interesting places, and this one gave us 2 levels. And so we have 260 points now. The next place we want to go are the salt dunes, because we're going to go to the 6-day stilt soon to turn in the books that we've been finding. We probably want to think about, at this point, we have 210 left. We're going to be doing a lot of water rituals, so Tactful is useful, but Disassemble is particularly useful at this point as well, so we're going to pick that up. If you don't get this, what you're going to find is that Scavenger is going to fill up your inventory with little bits that you don't actually want. You want to disassemble them. So I have my disassemble currently set to automatically disassemble, and now that'll start happening. The next priority after this is getting a toolbox, which will make you get more bits more often. With the other 100, we're going to jump back up here and actually we're just going to save it. We're going to save it and carry on with what we're doing here. Hulk honey injector, carbide dagger, not bad. Sap mask, we'll take that. Anything painted you want to look at, because you will get, in this case, a legendary item that we can go find. And it's worth money, of course. Okay, we have a hired guard that we can do the oil ritual with if we want to get good with the robots. But why we're really here is the Ichor merchant. So let's see about them. Disliked by Beetles, admired by Barthelemites, hated by Wardens. So this is a real mixed bag. Let's see what they have to trade. Cloning Drought, of course. When I don't have any money to buy it with, that's okay. What else? Brain Brine. So this is a good merchant. I don't know exactly off the top of my head what level or what tier this merchant is, but it's better than those at the 6-day stilt. So this is a really good find. We're going to look at anything that's engraved or painted in his inventory. He'll often have at least one thing, sometimes two. That gives us more secrets to share. Okay, up we go. And we'll carry on looking for those wings. How about that? We just happened to find it while running away from a fight. Ooh, Null Skull. We're going to go ahead and equip that. Backpack isn't bad. Alright, so what we came for here. Let's see, we'll disassemble all those real quick. Here's what we came for. The broken mechanical wings. So now that we have found that, we are going to retreat from this area. We're going to make a note of what this is, Samas trefoil. Go in here and we're going to mark it as a place we want to return to, because we weren't able to finish that and there were definitely some more books in there. And then we're going to take our wings over here and get them repaired. There we go. We have wings now. So that's the completion of part 2. So now we're on our way to the 6-day stilt to start the next phase of our game plan, which is acquiring books using the Wayfaring skill and turning those books in for experience up here. Alright, so now that we're in the 6-day stilt, we can turn in a number of things that are worth some experience. But you want to make sure that you auto-explore in every single zone here. because there's lots to discover, secrets-wise, and there's some food from the vines that are around, which is quite valuable. You also want to pick up this quest here. Say you're looking for work, I'm looking for Bela, and he'll mark the location on your map. So if we go here, we can say, well, actually, if I just go to the overworld map, you'll be able to see it. So we'll do that in a few minutes. If you come in here and talk to Shiva, you can go ahead and trade in all your books for experience, which, as you can see, is pretty much our main game plan for this early game, we'll call it. We are going to use this book trade-in to get all the way up to the mid-teens in terms of levels before we actually progress the main quest line. So there we're up to level 8, about halfway through, but we're not done here yet. We're going to get at least one more level before we leave. Admired by Dromad merchants is kind of nice. Nothing else matters. You want to go ahead and do the water ritual with this guy here to get Mechamist favor. We need to get that up to 250 before one of the later quests at Bethesda Susa. So we'll go ahead and share secrets with him. We have a number of them. Mostly forgotten ruins or locations of cities or whatever. So you can give him 2. That's at 225. So we're going to need to pick up an extra 25 before that mid-game quest. So we got a while yet. Always good to get in with the wardens. You can hire them later for an assistant if you need them. And here's where we can turn in a number of our secrets. So if you say share secrets from Respeth's life, which you'll find, we've found 4 of them. Each one of these then increases as you turn more in how much experience you're getting. So you want to check with him and see if you found anything periodically throughout the game. There's our next level up, so we're halfway through level 9. And they will teach us Physic, which we'll learn for 50 reputation, because why not? So at this point we can learn Trash Divining, which we'll do. And we'll also learn Flower Fields, which is where Bela is, so we'll be going there soon. Then we're going to go with meal prep. For one thing, what that does is it allows us to cook, or rather preserve. And we've preserved 130 servings of this spine fruit jam, which is the stuff that you pick in this area from these green vines. And it turns out that stuff is worth quite a lot. So we'll just hang on to it for now, but we're going to want to buy an item very soon here. And that's going to let us do it. And we'll go find Bela. And look at that. A flamethrower with 20 drams of oil. This is, in my opinion, the most powerful item in the game. The flamethrower can kill any enemy. All you have to do is shoot it enough times that the temperature rises to the point it disintegrates. So we will be using this very soon. And we'll probably be using it the whole game. If we hadn't found it like that, we would be looking to tinker it up at some point. So that's pretty lucky. All right, so the reason we're here is to talk to this leader person. They'll give us a quest, which we can finish later for a couple pieces of loot if we want to. We will probably come back, but for now, we're going to trade. And they have a guaranteed force bracelet, which is what we're here for. There we go. Spine fruits coming in. Look at this. I go from 339 drams to 557 from one trip around the stilt. Really just very valuable. Perfect. And now we have a force bracelet. And a buckler in case we need to block multiple things a turn. So we got that force bracelet, and we've got a high energy cell here. We have 2 different solar cells, but we want the ability to charge this up as soon as possible. I should note that we've got another attribute point from the level 9, which we're going to throw into agility, as I mentioned earlier. We don't have any skill points, so the next skill point we're going to get is going into Tinker 1. There is one more thing we're going to go pick up next, which is in the waterlogged tunnels. It's the miner's helmet, which will eliminate our need to carry a torch around. So after we get that, we'll say the end of the early game has come. And we'll be sitting right around level 10, I expect. So let's head down there and do that real quick. Down we go. Okay, musket turret. And we just one-shot it for 375 experience. Nice. A little further down then, on Strata 4, we find these purple bones. And here's what we came down here for. The miner's helm, which we will equip. And the pickaxe, which will let us dig through walls, which will come in handy for a quest in not too long. So we just keep heading north a few more tiles here to finish the quest under Red Rock. There's our quest item. So we need to get one of these back to Joppa. So that's the end of the first video, and after about an hour and 15 of gameplay, we've acquired these guaranteed items, which are going to help us progress now into the mid-game. So we've got the miner's helmet, which allows us to see in the dark, the force bracelet, which is probably the best defensive item in the game. We'll be looking to keep that on permanently in the near future by finding the power core cybernetic. We also found the wings, which is going to let us get around better, escape fights and various tiles that we might be stuck on otherwise, and it's going to help us with a quest that we're about to come up to. We started with the Ishkar rifle, of course, and that's still carrying us quite well, and we've got the pickaxe, which is going to solve several problems in the near future as well. So you can get these in every game, and they're going to set you up nicely going forward. So thanks for watching part 1 of this guide. In part 2, we're going to be getting more experience, getting ready for the next set of quests in the main storyline. See you next time.